guys are new. It's always good to watch these videos for dreadlock inspiration. And with that being said, make sure to comment down below who your dreadlock inspiration is. Now let's get into it. So first things first, let's label his dreadlocks as freeform. This method of dreadlocks is very popular with the 4 range hair types. So anywhere from 4A to 4C. And the reason it's most popular with that hair type is because it's more suitable. Now of course you can freeform with any hair type, but it is a little bit easier and it locks up faster with the 4 range. But that goes hand in hand with any other method of actually getting dreadlocks. And of course, like I always say, that doesn't omit the 1 range, the 2 range, or even the 3s. It just means that the 4 range hair type is easier to lock up, it locks up faster, and there's more methods to choose from. But in this case, it's freeform. Freeforming the dreadlocks is allowing the hair to lock up on its own completely. That means that you're not using a dreadlock sponge, and you're not using any products like locking gel. The only product you're really going to be using is shampoo. And there are people that do what's called semi-freeform, to where they'll freeform, and then they'll maintain their hair very spread apart. And they keep the maintenance very minimal, and typically the maintenance looks like just separating the dreadlocks. And the maintenance typically looks like separating the sections that you want to keep. Now of course that's not completely freeform, but it still achieves somewhat of the freeform look. That's why they call it semi-freeform. But if you've noticed, everybody's dreadlocks look different even if they are doing freeform. Although it's the same method, they all turn out very unique. And this is what makes it different from twisting with gel. It also makes it different from crochet hooking, which is also known as instant locking, and every other method in order to get dreadlocks. And that is because it makes the dreadlocks look very unique. Now in this case, his are a little bit more unique, and that is because he has this crease around the circumference of the actual dreadlocks. And this actually comes from one simple thing, and that is pulling the hair up. That crease comes from the actual hairband, and the headbands actually come in all different sizes. And typically you'll see this happen when someone will pull their hair up at night and then just allow their hair to be down during the daytime. Now this can be a positive for some people, and this can also be a negative for others. And if you're wondering why some of your dreadlocks look bent, even if they're not freeform, because remember, this can happen with any set of dreadlocks. Even if your hair is extremely maintained while doing twisting with gel, if you pull your hair up frequently, it will eventually start to bend at certain areas, depending on where the hair tie is creasing the hair. But even with that being said, there are ways to actually get those bends out of the dreadlocks. But in this case, with this hair being freeform, it could become a little bit more tough, and the freeform dreadlocks actually just take on that form and accept it. Versus if you had a bunch of dreadlocks from doing a method like twisting with gel, there's more of a tendency for the hair to go back to its normal state. But in this case, this hair is forming as it goes, and with it free-forming, once it forms into a position, it has the strongest hold because that's the hair's natural form. And a great tip for all of you guys is when you're free-forming, the locks become stronger than if you were doing a maintenance method like twisting with gel, crochet hooking, interlocking, twist and rip. It really doesn't matter. All of those methods work really well, but they don't have as strong as a hold as freeform dreadlocks because that's its natural lock. And this is why I always encourage people to allow the hair to lock up and give it time after doing maintenance on it, because it's going to have a stronger hold. But with ishowspeed's dreadlocks, it doesn't look like he's doing hardly any separation, and it also looks like he's just allowing it to do its own thing, which is really cool, and it's also encouraging. This is why I really like freeform dreadlocks, because they are extremely unique. The thing about freeform dreadlocks is nobody's looks the same. But if you really want to follow the path of ishowspeed and make your dreadlocks look like his, it's really as simple as just allowing the hair to lock up. But let's take it step for step. He has a 4B hair type. He allowed it to lock up on its own, which is freeform. And then at night, it looks like he's possibly pulling it up with a headband, or he could be possibly doing it during the daytime as well. And that's what allows the hair to stand up, and then it also has that crease on there. And of course, there are ways to manipulate your hair to make it look freeform, and that could possibly be doing sponge rub, and then allowing it to freely form after that, and kind of just touching it up every now and again with a sponge. Of course, when the hair is short, I would recommend shorter than 4 inches. And then you could do some level of separation to allow the hair to kind of go out in single strands so it's not all put together. And of course, to top it off, I would say to use a headband to kind of allow the hair to stand up, which that'll allow the hair to stand in position, even with it being outside of the hair. But I do want to hear your guys' thoughts down below